Today, artificial intelligence is transforming the auditing profession. But behind the efficiency gains lies a crucial question. Can we really trust AI in an audit?
The Financial Reporting Council, FRC, has published guidelines on generative and agent-based AI, specifically to address this question. In this video, we'll briefly summarize the main risks that AI can pose to audit quality, and most importantly, at the end we'll outline 4 concrete controls that every auditor should know to mitigate these risks.
First, 2 key concepts. Generative AI, such as large language models, generates text, summaries, or analyses based on data.
Agentic AI, on the other hand, goes a step further. It can plan and execute multiple steps autonomously to achieve a goal. In an audit, this means, for example, summarizing board meeting minutes, analyzing contracts, identifying risky transactions, or even flagging undocumented procedures in a file. But as autonomy increases, so do the risks. The FRC identifies 3 main categories of risk to ensure audit quality. Deficient output, the risk that the output of the AI tool is deficient. Misuse of output, the risk that the output is misused, despite the output itself being appropriate. Finally, the risk related to the firm's non-compliant methodology. This occurs when audit procedures allow for uses of AI that do not comply with standards, even if the results are correct and used correctly according to internal methodology. Imagine an AI system that helps you conduct an audit, fast, smart, and almost fully automated. Sounds ideal, doesn't it? But first, the bottom line, the risk of flawed results. Even the best models can make mistakes in 5 major ways when it comes to performance. Making up information, known as hallucinations, omitting essential details, distorting the meaning of what they analyze, producing illogical reasoning, or even contradicting themselves. And where things get really critical is when AI no longer relies on a single model, but instead manages an entire network of agents. This brings us into the world of multi-agent AI, which is capable of coordinating multiple specialized agents to accomplish a complex task. These agents will divide up the work, analyzing data, making decisions, and even communicating with one another, under the supervision of an orchestrator. But here's the problem. If a single agent makes a mistake, by misinterpreting data, or drawing the wrong conclusion, it can produce something that seems credible, but is completely false. And since the other agents rely on it, the error spreads. The result? We end up with an audit that looks rigorous, structured, convincing, but which is actually built on shaky ground. And the most dangerous trap is the cumulative effect. A small error at the start, almost invisible, can be amplified at every stage, until it gradually transforms the information into something completely biased. And finally, one factor that is often underestimated, the human element. A user might write a vague, ambiguous, or incorrect prompt. They might also attach a document that is incomplete, erroneous, or irrelevant. And the AI will do the best it can with what it receives. Finally, we must not forget that the AI can also be misconfigured from the start by humans. Result: an impressive-looking system, but one capable of producing flawed results. Another major risk is the misuse of results. And what's interesting here is that the problem doesn't necessarily stem from the AI. The tool may produce a perfectly accurate result, but humans may misinterpret it. For example, an auditor might mistake a simple summary generated by AI for a comprehensive analysis without realizing the tool's limitations or its level of certainty. There is also another risk: not understanding how to properly use AI within the audit methodology. In other words, even good information can lead to the wrong action and conclusion if it is used the wrong way. With AI, the auditor must always understand what the result truly means, what its limitations are, and how to properly integrate it into their audit. Another significant risk associated with AI in auditing is the risk of non-compliant methodology. AI can transform audit procedures. Sometimes it complements traditional methods, and sometimes it replaces them entirely. But even if the tool appears to be effective, the method used may no longer comply with auditing standards. And with AI, this risk becomes even greater, because it can be more difficult to compare its results with those of traditional procedures. In short, AI must never become a black box, Professional judgment remains essential to validate the results and ensure that the audit always complies with standards. The FRC proposes several mitigation measures. The risk that an AI system will produce an inaccurate result can be reduced in various ways, depending on the level of confidence required in the results. Several control mechanisms can be implemented. First, designing and developing the system in a way that is responsive to the intended use.
Implement a robust certification process for the tool.
It is also necessary to ensure that users possess the necessary skills, as well as clear guidance on how to use AI correctly. And above all, it is essential to keep a human in the loop. In other words, a person must supervise the results produced by the AI, validate them, and sometimes even question them. Finally, the level of confidence required in the quality of the result depends on professional judgment. This judgment varies depending on the use of the result and the impact it may have on audit decisions. AI does not replace the auditor. It changes the auditor's role, but the key remains the same: governance, risk management, a sound methodology, professional judgment, and controls such as human oversight. Without these, AI can increase risk rather than reduce it.
If this video has helped you better understand AI and its impact on audit quality, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next installment.